there. Hi, how are you today? You've tuned into Healthy-ish, your podcast from Body+Soul. I am your host, Felicity Harley. Today, I am chatting to Shaun Burgoyne. He's the AFL's Indigenous Games record holder and one of the most respected players in AFL history. His autobiography is called Silk, and I wanted him to share with you what his culture taught him about health and nutrition and how he used that to perform at his best at an elite level for, well, over 2 decades. Now, we keep our Healthy-ish episodes short, so if you want to hear my full chat with Shaun, where he talks more about his culture, his family, and how he performed at his best, search for Extra Healthy-ish wherever you get your podcasts. Shaun, welcome to Healthy-ish and congratulations on your book and, more importantly, congratulations on your amazing career. Tell me about one thing that you learned about yourself when you wrote this book, something that you might have been like, oh, I didn't know that about me.
No, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to have a chat with you and see where it goes. But yeah, my career's finally come to an end, and I was approached a couple of times to do the book. So, which was a bit daunting at the start because being a footy player, you're used to doing things as a team, and now I'm out as an individual, so it's a little getting used to. But yeah, what did I learn about myself? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I was very nervous about the book, but once I sat down with Martin Blake and he helped co-write the book, we started reminiscing what I did. So it brought back a lot of good memories and a lot of memories that I thought I'd forgotten until we brought up certain topics, and then things kept coming back to me as we kept talking. And but it was really surprisingly, it was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed the process of reminiscing about everything from my childhood to my whole footy career.
Actually, you write something talking about your I suppose your life. You wrote, you can't change history, but you can learn from it. And I love this. What do you wish that everyday Australians knew about your culture, or something that we knew more of about? I feel like, me included, so many of us want to know more, and we need to know more. So what's kind of a few things that we can learn from you?
There's a lot of things, to be honest. I think Indigenous Australia, our history is so untapped in Australia. Like, a lot of it's not taught in schools. It's not, we learn, you can go to any primary school, high school, and you can have a selection of subjects. You can pick languages, any Asian language, any European language, but we don't have any Indigenous language. You can't learn at school. You can learn about ancient Greeks and ancient Romans and ancient Egyptians, but we don't have...
It's crazy.
But in Australia, we don't have Indigenous studies, or some schools, very, select few are bringing that in. So I wish personally we'd start teaching our history. It's Australia's history. It's our history. It's there, part of the oldest living culture in the world. So why not embrace that and teach it, and, not wait until, a lot of people finish school and go to work and they do cultural awareness training, or they go to an Indigenous seminar and then they start learning more then. We can start that learning a lot younger, in primary schools. And a lot of our history is obviously there's the European side of history when they first came to Australia, but a lot of the Indigenous history is based around music and dance and paintings, art. So things that are really fun to learn about. And it's a lot different from one tribe to the next. It's all different, but I think it's a great way for our kids to learn. And, when you go to schools, you see kids painting all the time and, dancing and singing. So it'd be a great way to start that learning process.
Yeah, great point. Now, a lot of listeners to this podcast obviously interested in health and fitness and mental health. What can we learn about that? And was there anything that, from your culture that helped you while you were playing in terms of health and mental fitness?
Yeah, well, a lot of my culture is based around healthy eating traditionally. We do a lot of different animals. Kangaroos and a lot of seafood. Which kangaroos obviously lean meat, and a lot of seafood and fresh vegetables. That's where probably our people traditionally what we ate before, or obviously English and that came here. So I've learned to try and take that on board. And I was lucky enough we had a dietitian at the club who I'd speak to probably once or twice a week, and we'd change my diet and we'd strip it right back to the bare minimum, to be honest. So I became a lot more, I don't know, really, I'll say really, probably obsessive a little bit about what I ate and drank and put into my body, because I had an injury when I first came to Hawthorn that was going to end my career, and I had to become elite in my preparation. So I was pretty good before that at Port Adelaide, but once my career was put on the line, I had to actually become elite in every single aspect of my life, and even recovery with sleeping, and food, and what you put in your body is a massive part of, how you fuel your body to get ready to play AFL footy.
What did you do? What did your diet look like when you switched it up? And do you keep that same diet now, or have you kind of relaxed a bit?
I've relaxed a little bit. A lot of my diet was based around my portions. Because I'm an athlete, or was an athlete now, so we're always training and always hungry. So how do I deal with that? What can I substitute? So having bigger meals, having smaller meals and maybe more of them. I used to eat a lot until I was full and I couldn't eat anymore. And then obviously chatting with the dietitian, and we stripped that right back to eating a lot less and just more snacking across the day, but things like celery and carrots and cucumbers, which sounds boring to some people, but for me it was, I was actually learning as I was going, and I became a lot healthier. And probably one of the reasons also, there's a number of reasons, but definitely contributed to me playing into I turned 39.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Next week. So.
Oh, well, happy birthday for next week. Just quickly, how do you, or did you, when you're playing and now as well, keep your mental health in check?
Very interesting. Footy is a lot. It's a pressure cooker. There's so much pressure. We're analysed and judged every single weekend when we play, but also every day when we go to training. From every session we do, we have a coach who's there and teammates, and we judge each other and critique each other every single day, because that's how we get better. We need to constantly improve. So with that comes a lot of stress. I was very lucky all clubs now, I think, have a sports psychologist on hand. And if you're not comfortable with a sports psychologist, there are psychologists outside of footy which you can tap into through the AFLPA, AFL Players Association. So there's those contacts. So I was able to chat every now and again with a psychologist about what I'm going through, short-term goals, long-term goals, pressure cookers, about how do I release stress without losing the plot. So, yeah. So basically, but they're just easy steps to go through, and you build up a relationship with the sports psychologist who's at the club a lot. They travel with us, they're able to build a great relationship with them. So there's that one. And then also I've got 4 kids, which is,
busy.
Yeah, very, very busy. So when I'm not at footy, I'm at home just being a normal dad and interacting with them, doing whatever they want, their school homework, sport, chatting about their friends, what video game they want to play. And that in itself takes your mind off footy and the pressures and the stress that is related to football. And then you've got the whole social media aspect now, which is contributing to a lot of mental pressure or mental demons that a lot of players have, getting that feedback from that brutal feedback from the community. But I've been lucky, to be honest, in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think that's a really valid point you make, because often we can see kids as so much as an extra stress, but often they can be a stress absorber. Shaun, thank you so much for coming on Healthy-ish.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, if you like this chat with Shaun and you want more, make sure you grab his autobiography. It's called Silk. We also have more from Shaun on our Extra Healthy-ish podcast. That's our big sister podcast that gives you that little bit extra in your day. We publish a new episode of that every morning, Monday to Thursday. For more, head to bodyandsoul.com.au, or hey, make sure you follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks again for listening. And if you have a moment, we'd be so grateful if you could rate, review and subscribe to this podcast. And until tomorrow, stay healthy-ish.